Welcome back to Project Zero, guys. This is Rishabh here with another second marathon-oriented podcast video. Of course, quick refresher. This is a relief shelter for those without a stable, secure place to call home or without family. All are welcome here. I want to say also, of course, this is Slice of Life, SOL, plus IRL in real life amalgamation put together to make some, half virtual and half authentic and genuine and real. So real life responsibilities, and tasks and activities, plus imaginative, creative stuff on the side, all put together. And it's a place for us to basically experience things and share activities together that will find some sort of fulfillment. All right, with that being said, in this particular video, we have a lot of behind the scenes at the very first, I think, 5 to 8 minutes about YouTube Studio and updating even more playlists, creating more playlists as well, for different genres, different topics, different domains. And then, just ate a little bit of food. Blessings for the food. The next thing we'll cover afterwards is mostly just the podcasting stuff. So we're going to start and roll on ahead with knocking out all the research and learning that we've covered about podcasting, different platforms for distribution, and so on and so forth. All right, so let's start off, and you can see that on the top and the bottom right hand windows right here on the side with the border. So the very bottom one there says it's for YouTube. The one above is for Apple, and we'll get to that shortly. So we'll start off with the bottom ones. All right, like I said, YouTube. So we'll hop over to the side here, channel content. And I have roughly about 8 tabs here open, all related to YouTube here. So we'll start off with the channel content here. And the reason why I started on this tab, this is the YouTube Studio. If you guys have a YouTube channel, you just open it and then it brings you over here. If you go to content tab on a navigation panel, dashboard, content, analytics, comments, so on and so forth. And if we go on further down, what you'll see is that I basically have a bunch of the playlists here because I'm on the playlist tab. So on the playlist tab, we have 00.gaming, .work plus employment, .retro, nostalgic memory. You can see that most of these are of the same format, but there's a few of them that are not. 00.gaming being an example. And then if I go on to the other tabs here on the side, so that's the first 10, but there are multiple pages, and I have at least, probably 50 pages of this because I have over 500 different playlists. But the most active ones are just going to be the first 50. So we just can't go through all these. Not going to go through all of these, but if we wanted to, you'd see that there's a lot of them that have the newest dot space and then the name formats, and it's very simple in the caps. And then some of them don't. So, okay, actually I'm going to edit this one as well. So if you click on edit, there's the edit button. It pops open a new tab, and here's an example of that. So 11.yt3 or 11.453 space YT_gaming careers. Gaming careers is the name, and then 11.453 YT_, that is the tag encoding that I have for formatting. So what we can do is we want to get rid of all of that stuff because it's all nonsense, and just put dot instead. It's not really nonsense. It's something that I used to use to encode sort of like the Dewey Decimal System, but my own method, and obviously it's not really needed anymore, as I've recognized. I always knew that it was not a really important thing to have to do, but it's something that I could not overcome in terms of perfectionism, and that was a lot related to the PTSD that I was experiencing at the time. So there you have it. We get rid of the title, we save it. That's very important, otherwise it's going to refresh, and we'll add to the description down here. First we'll go over to tab, go over to the side here, YouTube videos, copy the description, and then we'll paste it down, and that's about 4,970 characters. Save it, and then you have all that done. We also want to, of course, as usual, not just change the titles if it has the wrong coding, also update the description. And then on top of that, change the order over here in playlist settings from add new videos to the top of the playlist. I want to make sure, just allow me a second, I'll have to check on OBS, make sure that in fact it is showing up, and yes, the interface showing up. So we say add new videos to top of playlist, go to sort, go to date published newest, and we'll leave it at that. So then now everything is showing up from newest first. And this helps a lot, especially because I tend to reference gaming careers a lot. And then now I have my own videos here mixed in as well. Okay, so that's an additional one that I didn't intend on updating, but we have updated it now. What we'll do is hop over to all the playlists that we updated on the side before we even started this video. So here's one, memes. It was 00.memes, and now it's just .memes plus culture. So we added culture to it, and then we changed the order, I believe, and updated the description to reflect that 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. instead of 11. We can close that one. So we're just going to knock off every single one of these tabs here. This is a completely new playlist. So this one's on happy vibes and joy, or happy vibes plus joy. And then we have the description as well, and then the title. Next one beyond that is writing and prose. So this is also another new playlist. We had 2 new playlists today, writing and prose. This one is inspired because of a compliment I received from my amazing caseworker, who apparently has read Dostoevsky, so Fyodor Dostoevsky, the brothers Karamazov, the Grimm brothers. So it's one of my most favorite writers. Close that one. Next one we have here, psychology and therapy. We're just going to run through it all. So psychology and therapy. This one was, it didn't have any zeros. It had no numbers, and it didn't have a space or a dot. It was just psychology. And this is one of those playlists that I used to have personally. I didn't really showcase to the, kept it private. But this one we're making public now, and then we add plus therapy to it. So it's psychology plus therapy, and I was thinking of just psych. But I feel like the keyword psychology is more trending, I guess, more popular than it is just psych alone. Anyways, aside from that, I made sure that the order is different. Published newest first, description update as well. Next 3 playlists here, we have one here for upload defaults. So if you go to YouTube Studio and you go to settings, what you can go to is general, channel, upload defaults, permissions, and so on and so forth. And so at the very bottom here, we can see that I just want to update the time here from 11 a.m. sorry, in the morning over to 7 p.m. And we can just save it like that. And to be honest here, the title here should probably go. It's not really all that useful. I'm going to get rid of that tag and leave it like that. So we'll save it like that. That way we don't have to constantly delete it every single time we create a new video. Okay. Next. So that was important, but that was not playlist related. It's more related to updating video defaults and so on and so forth. The next one after that is abuse plus relief. So abuse plus relief. We didn't have the plus relief. And I was thinking of maybe respite or refuge, but I think relief, and we even tried shelter, but I think relief is good enough right here. It's not a physical place necessarily, right? I know that my channel isn't a physical shelter, but it is something along those lines of a place for you to de-stress, to kind of chill. Okay, leave it there. And then the last playlist here is .gaming. So it was 00.gaming, and now we got rid of the zeros, got rid of the numbers, and then added plus plays. So gaming and plays together. Video reactions, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's it. Now, while we're here, we also want to maybe see what's in the notifications. There's a comment here, and it says, I agree with everything. And on Erwin's side, we can see that in the end, he was there where he wanted to be with his life, with his father again. So this is interesting, but I don't think it's a comment made to me. So right here, we have anime haters watch Attack on Titan 3x18 Midnight Sun. And I left a comment here. Says that someone else wrote that Armin is not a slave to anything. And that's what makes him so astonishing to me as a character. Because Armin isn't without dreams, but his dreams don't enslave him. He was able to hide his plan from Eren in order to give his life to help his comrades and all that jazz. So anyways, it's not my own particular comment, and it's not a comment response to me either. It's just something that popped up. So Diego Sanchez, thanks for the comment. I'm just gonna read that out. Okay, so I think we're done all of the stuff here having to do with YouTube. What we'll do now is hop on over to continuation of the playlists. So going back to Apple. Okay. At this point, I can probably switch scenes and switch over to the backdrop scene. And basically, we're at this point, we're sharing all the kind of things that we have learned, you could say, from podcasting over the past 2 weeks or so. Okay. So this is Apple ID, right? I don't actually have an Apple device. So that's why I actually create my own account, separate from any sort of registration, but Apple ID, sign in, create your Apple ID, FAQ, frequently asked questions. One account for everything, a single Apple ID and password gives you access to all Apple services, sign in to manage your account. And they have a pretty neat navigation panel up here if you go to the top. Shop the latest Mac, iPad, iPhone, Apple Watch, accessories, find store, order status, financing, Apple trade-in, and so on and so forth. The only reason why I'm here, honestly, I'm pretty sure was just to create a new account or log in. And again, I couldn't access oftentimes the tabs because they were pushed all the way to the furthest right. And I had like 400 tabs open, so it's kind of crazy. All right, you're in control. Review or update important information like your name, password, security details. See how others can reach you. Check your payment information. Manage the devices connected to your account. Private and secure. Privacy and security are built in with account security features like two-factor authentication. La-di-da, we don't need to cover in detail. Okay. Create an account. We logged in. Next one. About security keys for Apple ID. So physical security keys provide extra protection for your Apple ID against phishing. I can sort of understand why I came here actually. Usually whenever I create a new account, I also want to make sure that two-factor authentication or some other backup method for logging in is activated. And I was exploring this, but it's not really relevant because security keys are things that you need to purchase, and it says it right here. So a security key is a small external device that looks like a thumb drive or tag, which can be used for verification when signing in with your Apple ID using two-factor authentication, 2FA, and so on and so forth. So it's an optional advanced security feature and stuff. Not useful because I'm not going to buy something like this just for security purposes. We can get rid of that as well. I see we have 2 more Apple tabs. And let's check on the time for a moment. I'm going to take a little break and drink some water. So pause the video slightly. Okay, just got some drink of water. 12 minutes in. So we have about 8 minutes. Let's see what we can wrap up here. Apple, sign into apps with your Apple ID using app-specific passwords. So in addition to security keys in devices like that, I am obviously not going to use that. You can also use an app-specific password. I think I did use this, right? So app-specific passwords allow you to securely use your Apple ID to sign into apps made by developers other than Apple. This might be for example, the Google Authentication app. There are other ones like the Microsoft Authenticator. Use either one is fine, but usually I think people use the Google Authenticator. Anyways, I don't think I actually turned this on. Maybe they're referring to something different. So sometimes the companies have their own specific app two-factor authentication device or application that's available on the App Store. So that might also be a reason why I didn't get this. I'm not sure. I can't remember whether or not I activated this. So that's 3 tabs down, and the last one here is a hop over to a product. So there's an Apple product called HomePod 2nd generation. I don't know what this is. That's probably why I opened this tab. I was curious. And you can see there's amazing web design, special effects here. You move your mouse. No, that's just not the mouse, that's a film. Immersive high fidelity audio. It's an intelligent assistant. It works seamlessly with your Apple devices. A powerful way to control your smartphone, private and secure. I'll go further down. Profound sound available in midnight and white, $299, high fidelity audio. Amp up everything you hear. HomePod is a powerhouse of a speaker. Apple engineered audio technology and advanced software deliver high fidelity sound, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, once again, not particularly useful because we're not going to be using one. We won't be purchasing one anytime soon. It's just something that captured my attention. I was wondering what's this little gadget here. And they actually show a 3D imaging of the inner mechanics. So room filling oomph, and a high excursion woofer packs HomePod with deep, rich bass. Alright, that's pretty sick. What it sounds like to me is that basically it's like one of those like Bluetooth surround sound speakers or stuff like that. The diaphragm, remarkable 20 millimeters with its bass EQ equalizer mic dynamically tunes low frequencies in real time. lots of technical stuff, bass, EQ, equalizer, mic, dynamically tunes low frequencies, super clean bass, fills the room, boom, hits the high notes. Yeah, and that's it. I don't think I have to cover any more of this, guys, because we're not going to get it. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and let the new tabs reload over here on the side. They're not new, but I have to reload them separately from the video. All right, so very happy to get through the Apple stuff. I just refreshed the tabs here that are relevant for the upcoming few, and it seems like a lot of them are Bing searches, and I'll figure out why they are. I'm not exactly sure why I had so many Bing searches open. It doesn't seem like some of these are related to podcasting, to be honest, but we'll find out. Okay, let's run through it all as much as we can. So we have iHeartRadio. This is the terms and agreements and conditions. So I hereby grant IHM iHeartRadio a worldwide non-exclusive sub-licensable royalty-free license. Worldwide non-exclusive sub-licensable royalty-free. So the reason why we're here is I can remember this. This one really irks me. I was wondering whether or not they had some terms here saying, for example, you can't make money off of your own content, and whatever you submit to iHeartRadio becomes their content or something along those lines. I'm not going to go through it, but I recognize these are just standard legal terms and that I'm probably misinterpreting something. Yeah, and so on and so forth. Anyways, you can see it's more than a full page wide. It goes all the way further down. And yeah, yeah, we can log out honestly as well. We don't really need this open. Okay, we're about 16 minutes in. We also have next, we searched up on Bing. What are the most popular podcast genres? Okay, so we're doing marketed research. So the top genres in terms of broad popularity. We wanted to figure out at the time, right, when we were submitting our podcast over to WordPress and other platforms, which one are we going to submit to specifically? I wasn't sure at the time. I at first selected something that was very niche, something along the lines of leisure and animation, because I felt that was just what was going through my mind at the time, was that this channel has reacting to Studio Gek, who's reacting to anime, and I think that's where I kind of left off. I also know that my moniker, my logo, looks a lot like that kind of character also. But I know that obviously that's not a very big niche, and I decided to check out what are some, let's say Joe Rogan's podcast and stuff like that, right? And I also did some research, found out that Dr. Andrew Huberman he's pretty much blown up his podcast. He's like ranked number 4, number 2 on a variety of different major podcasting platforms like Spotify and so on and so forth. And, what kind of areas do the main podcasts tend to put their own podcasts in? So here's some main ones. The main genres, the tags would be, so first of all, music is the largest one, 61.1 million. Of course, this is all US stats, so if you go across the rest of the world, it'd be different. So TV and movies, 60.5, comedy, 60 million. So we can see immediately the first 3 have to do with laughter, entertainment, things that are funny. TV and movies, again, entertainment. It doesn't have to be funny though, that one's more cinematic. I know that I can't, so in terms of this idea, we could go we're certainly doing some reviews, but that would fit under that category a little bit, but it's certainly a bit of a reach. Next one, music with 61.1 million. So we're definitely not creating music, but if we could, that would be the top genre. And if we go further down, there's some other major topics here. So technology is pretty much behind. So 61, 60, 59, 58. So they're literally just 1 million behind each. So tech is also really big up there, and so are, kids and families. So that sounds like kids, parenting, so that's a very common sort of theme, I suppose. I wasn't expecting the last one there, I'll be honest. Okay, so on the right hand side, a podcast is a program made available in digital format to download over the internet. For example, an episodic series of digital audio files that a user can download to a personal device to listen to at a time of their choosing. And if we go further down, what are the most popular podcast categories? What are the top 5 most popular genres? And we have some related people here: Adam Curry, Ben Hammersley. I don't know who these people are. I'm assuming that they're podcasters. If we go further down, we have more of these, more things that we can scour, do a little bit of research on. So the podcast charts on Spotify here. basically who's charting, right? The top most popular. And of course, I did click on it, but I realized very quickly that they were only commenting on musicians. So that wasn't particularly helpful. Oh, sorry, no. No, it says podcast. It says podcast charts, so it doesn't include musicians. If we go here, I believe Dr. Andrew Huberman, there we go, number 5 from SciComm Media. So I think he may have founded that himself. So Science Communications Media. Above him are 1, 2, 3, 4, Brain Leak. I don't know what that stands for. It's probably something comedic. Joe Rogan's number 2. The Witch Trials of J.K. Rowling is number 3. And why is that so high? So we can tell this is probably having to do with controversy. Examines some of the most contentious conflicts of our time through the life and career. Okay. And then we also have Brain Leak. Wood Elf Media. Sorry guys, it's playing the backdrop, isn't it, at 100 volume. Okay, so let's just turn that down a bit. IV drip up to your ears. Brain Leak brings Jacksepticeye. Oh, that's the YouTube guy. Prank gameplays. Together for a funny, off-kilter, wildly irrelevant deep dive into their brains, even the slimy bits. No topic is too taboo, no subject is out of bounds, and no question too... So this is a very unfiltered podcast, I assume. Okay, that explains why it's probably number 1, honestly. Let's get rid of that, So it turns out what we did is we just did some market research. That's what it's all about. And I'll leave this tab open because I want to reference this in the title name. And the last tab we'll probably get rid of here, I can see, is M-. No, we'll get rid of 2. Looking at the time here, I know I want to end this podcast because it's past 20 minutes now. But because we can sort of circle over to the same thing over again, which is Apple, I think that'll be a good place to end off. So as usual, we open a new tab to try and get the M- here for punctuation. I use it in my titles a lot. But I have to open a new tab because there's like 400 tabs. Get rid of that as well. Okay, so the one afterwards is we're going full circle at the beginning of this, not the beginning of the video, but halfway through the podcast video where we start talking about podcasting. We start off at Apple. So we're just going full circle here. This is Apple Incorporated. And then, of course, Wikipedia. We're just searching up at the time. It's funny because throughout the years, I actually have a spreadsheet that covers a bunch of different companies. And I would always go to Wikipedia and I would copy the names, the links of the Wikipedia articles on each specific company, but I didn't do that for Apple. So I've done that just recently, and Apple Incorporated is an American multinational technology corporation headquartered in Cupertino, California. You can see here on the side here and further and further. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this here. No, I can close this actually and leave at the Wikipedia page for Apple. And you can see founding incorporation, and we'll leave it there. So that's where we're going to stop this podcast. And I think that knocks off at least 10 tabs. Okay, sounds pretty good to me. And I think after the next podcast video, I'm going to go and grab a bite. I just did a little bit of food, and that's about it. So thanks for tuning in. This is Respite Shelter. Again, if you have any iPod devices or Apple phones, definitely feel free to chime in what they're like, because I don't have anything like that. I use Android, and so on and so forth. Also, in addition, of course, if there's any other topics related at the beginning that you thought was particularly useful or interesting, maybe you have your own YouTube channel as well, definitely chime in. And yeah, that's about it. So thanks for tuning in to the podcast, to the Relief Shelter, to the videos, if that's where you're watching from. So I'll see you in the next one, and peace out.